Hey, we're live. Hey, everybody, welcome to Afternoons on the Front Porch with Hollywood Howie, right here at the world-famous Music City Bar and Grill. Before we start the show today, this is hard. Yesterday, we lost a great artist, good friend, and he was scheduled to be on our show next week, Mr. James Kazad. And so we're going to be dedicating next week's show to him. But today's show, I got up this morning and a friend of mine from back home, Portland, Oregon, messaged me. A good friend of ours that I've known for 40 plus years. We met in the 5th grade. And my buddy messaged me this morning and asked me if I heard about Robert. And I said, nah, I don't need no more bad news. Well, he passed away from COPD yesterday. And we were known back then as the Four Musketeers. And now there's only 3 of us left. And I know my friend Harold Thoreau, he's going to be trying to watch today. So,
I thought I wasn't going to do this.
but, you know, like I said this morning when I found that out and I posted it to his daughters about how long I knew their dad. And I told them, I said, I can't say goodbye. I can't say goodbye to people. But I will say until we meet again, because we will. We will meet again one day. And with James Kazad, he was supposed to be on the front porch next week. Well, I guess God wanted him and his guitar and his singing on his front porch. So, same with James, I won't say goodbye, but I will see him again on the front porch. So with that being said, Robert, your favorite drink is Jack, just like me, and we went through a whole lot of it in high school. I bet we made Jack Daniels rich as kids. So with that being said, Robert, this is for you, brother. Alright, I think I'm ready to go on with the show. My wife this morning, she told me, she said, well, you know, I don't think Dylan and them would have a problem if you had to cancel because of what's happened. And I said, no, James or my friend Robert would not want that. I told her, the old saying is, the show must go on. And so unless I'm dead and in the ground, my show will go on. So with that, I'm going to go on with the show and thank our sponsors right now. First off, we want to thank Rodney and Jennifer Collins for letting us come into the world-famous Music City Bar and Grill each and every Wednesday and bring this show to you and these great artists that letting us set up with us. And of course, we want to thank the great Alex behind the bar, one of the best bartenders in Nashville and Davidson County. She'll be serving up them cold drinks. And we want to thank, see if I can get my voice right for this one. We want to thank the Garage Door Protocol. For all your garage door needs, contact Cliff Waddell at 615-945-DOOR. And I Ride Equestrian Lifestyle. They're a group of folks that run a horse camp for children of deployed soldiers and veterans. These kids get to come out, learn how to ride these horses, work with them, and it don't cost their families a dime. And of course, we want to thank Linda Gale of Linda Gale Management Promotions, who takes time out of every day, all week long, and puts this show together. If it wasn't for her, I don't think I could do this. She's the one that brings these great artists to everybody, and we want to thank you and everybody that helps us with the show. And I want to apologize for myself right now. I'm not all here. And so we're going to welcome to the stage right now my good friends, Mr. Mike Sweeney. See, I don't know my left and my right today. My wife forgot to write the L and the R on my boots. We got the great steel guitar player, Mr. Mike Sweeney, right over here.
Woohoo!
And of course, Brian Sterling.
Yay!
And I'm not going to give it away right off the bat who these guys played for. But I'll tell you what, he was one of my favorites. And I got lucky enough to meet him, know him, get to know that whole family. But I'm going to let them tell us who he was. I'm going to keep y'all in suspense.
Do you really want to know?
So I want to welcome Brian Sterling and Mike Sweeney to the front porch. Thank you guys for coming out. And welcome them folks there at the bar. Where y'all from? Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Woo!
Well, welcome to the front porch. And we hope you enjoy the show. And of course, I want to thank my co-host here, the Music City mascot, Luna. She is a great dog. She is 130 pounds of pit bull, bull mastiff. But she's as gentle as a teddy bear. And we want to thank John Collins for bringing her out every day. And she will lay up here next to these monitors and sleep. I don't know how she does it.
Well, it depends on who you got up there.
There's been a couple times I've literally seen her get up and look at John and go, and get off the stage. But normally she will just lay here and listen to the music. She loves good old country music.
I worked
And,
so much as I couldn't sleep.
See, that's why you need a microphone to hear this stuff.
Yeah, they both need microphones pulled over to them right now.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Well, I'm going to get on with it. Mr. Brian Sterling here and Mike, they played for a legend. And he did one of my favorite songs, Coca-Cola Cowboy, and a few others. They played for Mr. Mel Tillis. And what an honor it is to have two stateside-ers on the stage with little old me. He said he makes up for three people. Well, I think the other one of me wanted the other.
Believe it or not, and you can ask the bride over there, I used to be every bit as skinny as you.
Well, that's why I don't have a mic stand, because if I do, nobody can see me. Hey, I made him speechless.
It's not easy.
Well, I'm not speechless when I'm on the radio.
Actually, you're just on the front porch, so whatever's said here stays here and on Facebook.
Oh,
so
no, it don't.
YouTube and that tube.
That's right.
Whatever tube's out there. Now we've got, Linda, I know I'm not supposed to make the announcement yet, but I got to.
Go ahead.
I got to.
Go ahead.
I've got a new show coming up, and I want to thank the Nashville Country Music Television Network for coming to us and bringing this idea up to us. We're going to be starting to do the Front Porch News. That's right, it's going to be all about the music industry and what's going on in and around Nashville and Davidson County. And our first episode we're going to do is going to be the history of Music Valley and the music. We'll be talking to Joe Hobbs, Diane Sherrill, and a whole bunch of others. And for most of those, that first episode, we're going to be out and about on location. But almost every show will be brought to you right here from Music City Bar and Grill. Because I'm not going to, if I go, the bar goes with me. And I let Rodney and Jennifer know that. They gave me my start here. And so I got to bring the bar with me on the show. But back to these two great artists. Man, I'm telling you, I just... Mike's grabbing the microphone.
Artist, I can't even draw a stick figure.
I'll send you a picture of myself. It's just, it's real some short lines and
I can
these
color
things.
a coloring book and stay in the lines pretty good, but I can't draw.
Where are you, Brian?
No.
There we go.
Man of
But he can't draw either.
No, not that I can remember.
We'll just have to get him a pen and a napkin and put him to the test. So, okay, and either one of you, well, I'd love for both of you to answer this question. And I'm going to get dizzy going back and forth like this. I feel like I'm watching a tennis match. So we'll start with Brian. Why me? So you were with Mel.
Yes.
How long did you, were you a state starter? Did you play with Mel?
30-something years.
30-some years.
Yeah. 81. I left once. With my own volition. And then several times it was Mel's idea. But you never got fired for long. You always came back.
That's what I heard after having Ernie Reed on the show.
Yep, that's.
You know,
He was there and gone way more times than I was.
Yeah. Ernie told me he thinks he holds the record with that manager from the Yankees, Billy. What's his name? That holds the record for being hired and fired from the same job.
Billy Martin.
Billy Martin.
That's
That's right.
Yeah. He was the most hired and fired baseball manager from any team in the history of baseball. And that's because that's how good he was. They knew if he was there, they were going to win. That's why Mel must have thought that about y'all.
I'm not sure if that was the case there.
Well, you knew if you were there, you were going to get the job done.
Well, he hopes so.
Right.
Somebody's telling me he's a good bus driver.
Well, see, I didn't know that. I didn't know that about you, Brian. You were a bus driver.
Still am.
Still are. Hey.
That's job security right there, Hoss.
Well, it was until this COVID.
Right.
No such thing. But yeah, I do that.
Alrighty, now I get to swing over this way. I'm going to get dizzy during today's show.
You are
Mike
dizzy.
Sweeney on the steel. And I'll tell you, I've heard a lot of good steel guitar players. And Mike is one of the best. I'll tell you what.
I appreciate that. The check's in the mail. I should have it by Saturday.
Well, I'll take a check this time, but next time it's cash only. And no funny money from Canada. I don't accept that monopoly money. Donnie Lee, I love you. And Pam Miller. So, Mike, you were with Mel and them. How long were you with them?
I was only with Mel Jr.
Yeah.
You were with Junior.
I'm one of the few memory makers band that wasn't with Mel.
Okay.
That's right.
But I've been with Sonny for, 2 years? Something like that. No, the two biggest people I worked for, and I worked for a lot of people, I couldn't keep a job. But I worked for Ray Price. I was a Cherokee cowboy at one time. And the shoes I had to go in to fill was, I followed Jimmy Day.
Ooh.
And that was scary.
Yeah.
And then I worked off and on for 8 years with Vern Gosden. So I've been fortunate to work with some real good singers, and that's just a couple of them.
Speaking of Vern,
Yeah.
you got him looking right over your shoulder.
Hey, son.
Didn't know your former boss was going to be watching you today, did you?
Felt something burning a hole in my shirt. Yeah, and that's just a couple of, like I said, I couldn't keep a job. A lot of the people I worked for, they even passed away. And most of them have. I've done a lot of work with Jack Green back in the 90s, and he's gone. Of course, Vern and Ray worked, I don't remember some of the others. Worked for Freddie Weller when I was real young. When I was 20. Believe it or not.
Well,
They had steel guitars when I was 20.
I was just going to say, are we supposed to believe that you played with them or that you were actually 20?
Both. I worked for a lady out in Knoxville that was on Ron Swell's show for many years. I had a barbell. I was
Thank
I was in
her
her
boys.
I was in her band
I remember that show.
5 years ago. But yeah, I've been real fortunate to get to work with guys like Brian. We go back to the Gabe's days. That's where I met him, was Gabe's Lounge. Now it's just a big level field.
They're gonna be looking at my back all day.
It's a leveled lot now. I guess they'll build apartments or something there. But, matter of fact, that's where I met my wife.
She's not listening.
Oh well.
You could have said anything, because she was listening. Uh-oh.
That's okay.
She heard that.
Hi, honey.
Uh-oh.
Stand up, oh, she is standing. But I've been very fortunate, very blessed. Just an old hillbilly from up in Montgomery County, Virginia. Done what he wanted to do and made a living at it.
There you go. And, well, we are very honored to have you guys on the front porch with us today. And, of course, Bonnie Douglas back there. And Mike Sweeney's beautiful wife. And,
Teresa.
Teresa, that's right. I was getting to it.
Okay.
Sheesh.
Some of us gotta reach out and touch someone.
Now you can go to jail for that. If you reach out and touch someone.
Oh well. I did it from a distance.
All righty, with that being said, folks, we need some good country music on here.
That's right. Enough talking.
I'm going to turn this over to Mike Sweeney and Brian Sterling and let them start off the show with a couple good songs.
Okay, well, I'm going to...
With that being said, I'm going to get out the way.
Mike wants
Everybody,
to do...
Brian Sterling and Mike Sweeney.
All right, Mike wants us to do an old Mel Street song that was one of my early gigs. I was Mel Street's last guitar player. And so we're going to do one of his. And he's from that area.
Yeah,
and
you're
Linda's
watching
from
on
that area.
WHIS Bluefield.
That's right.
So we're going to do Borrowed Angel.
Yeah.
Her fingers feel so gentle with her hand in mine. Her hair feels like silk on my arm. Her lips tell me so tenderly she's mine alone. Tomorrow night and she goes home. Borrowed angel belongs to someone else. I love my borrowed angel. I just can't help myself. That ring on her finger don't belong to me. But she loves me, and I know she'll think some borrowed time for me. I wish that I could have her more than just one night. We can't go on like this. It isn't right. When this lonely feeling comes knocking on my door, I'll call my borrowed angel to ease the pain once more. Borrowed angel belongs to someone else.
Let's hit them with a little.
All right, don't get around.
Yeah, we're gonna shift gears. And go uptown a little bit.
Yeah.
Always like swing music, so here's your one. You can't see in case you got your harmonicas or something with you.
Woo. I'll tell you what, y'all got the approval of Miss Luna sitting here. She had her head up. Well, before y'all, when I walked off, y'all were getting ready to play, you started that, she barked. And so, as far as I know, when she does that, she's telling y'all, you need to start playing some music. Luna loves that country music and food. So if you order food, expect to have her come over to me and say hi.
Your God lovers, son.
Yeah, love Luna. So I'm going to ask a few questions here, and if y'all want to throw me off stage and drag me out back to the woodshed, y'all go ahead. But I got to do it. It's my job. I'm safe then. Ooh, Lord. All righty, well, we'll start with Brian over here again. Poor Brian, you know, he's like, well, you got to start with me for it.
I'm ready. Go ahead.
So all them years you played with Mel, how was it out on the road working with someone like that? Because I grew up listening to that, and I thought, man, it's got to be great. Even when you're back behind my back.
We did this with Ernie, too.
Yes.
Yeah, they did.
And so, I got to ask, just like I did with Ernie, how was it out there on the road? Because, like I was just saying before Mike started laughing behind my back, which a lot of people do. I grew up listening to that stuff, and I always thought, man, it's got to be great working with somebody like that on and off the road and all that. So I put their question to Ernie, and I'm going to put the same question to you. How was it out there on the road working with Mel?
What did Ernie say?
I don't want to go there. Now, Ernie had nothing but really good things to say. Now, there were some stories that he said he couldn't tell me on the road. And so it's the same thing, if there's something, that you can't or don't want to, we're good with that. But I know there's some good stories out there, too.
Oh, we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun because we played a lot of different things that, and went a lot of places, a lot of people don't get to go. I did Johnny Carson show twice with him. That was pretty cool. And that thing with the Beach Boys at the Washington Monument, we played that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was country music in the morning and Beach Boys and Ringo Starr and a bunch of them in the afternoon. That was really cool. And the same day, we flew from there and flew over to Stanton. It was the 4th of July and played the Stanton Brothers 4th of July picnic. So we played like to 1 million people that day. It was, it was a lot of fun.
Oh, man, sounds like it.
And Reno a bunch.
Sounds like it. So now that you've mentioned the Statler brothers, and of course I'm going to ask when we're working on trying to get Jimmy Porch on the show.
Oh, cool.
And so I'm going to put this question to Jimmy when we get him on the show as well. You played, with the Statlers and all them, you played during the show. Did you ever get to meet Harold Reed? And if you did, what was he like?
Well, I think I did. Yeah, we were over there. I don't know if I ever got to really hang out with them or whatever. We just played their picnic. They were kind of busy that day.
Right. Yeah, I always wondered how he was, because I've seen him on TV and I know how funny he is on TV during the shows.
Well, I imagine it was. The Roadhog, got a body,
Right. So I just had to ask.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to swing around over here to the other side.
Get him.
This is getting fun. I could do this all day.
You must be this tall.
It's getting fun up here. I'm glad.
Tokens for it.
Thank God little Bubba didn't come in, because he would have been going, no, Papa, I don't want to do that. Anyway, back to Mike Sweeney. Now, you were just saying, you played with guys like Ray Price. And I'm going to pose the same question to you that I did to Brian. And you don't have to tell some of the stories you can't or don't want to. That's all up to you what you say. But, so how was that? Because I know Gary Don Jones Jr., and from what I understand, he is Ray Price's adopted grandson. So I've heard some stories from him. But you played with the man. And so I'd like to talk to you, because I love Ray Price. And who didn't? If you didn't like Ray Price's music, you ain't right.
He was something else. He was something else.
Little Jimmy grabbed that and shrunk.
That's my problem.
It's a little Jimmy.
It's swinging around.
It needs a pill. Smiley Roberts. Oh.
You know, Ray was, as far as anything I ever done musically, I would have to say that's probably the best thing I ever did. I mean, you go in, wherever we went, Blondie, who was his piano player, Moses Calvin, he's passed away
Get that mic close to him.
years ago. And, what's the,
Live TV.
how's that?
Better.
Well,
You got a gun.
Blondie would hire string players, violins, violas, and cellos. He would be on the phone when we'd get on the bus and play in a place. He'd be on the phone to the next town, the closest symphony orchestra, talking to the union to get string sections.
Right.
So as you couldn't do like for the good times, and I won't mention it again without all the strings. And he did do a lot of the orchestra stuff. But he had the core of the Cherokee Cowboys, which everything was built around that.
Right.
And we did do. Now, my first gig with him was in Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin, and it was the day that Frank Sinatra died.
Wow.
It was the day Frank Sinatra died. And we was out on the bus watching and it didn't have satellite TV or nothing. He had an antenna. And we was barely getting in this local channel and got the news, and that's when we found out that Frank Sinatra had died. And, we went out there and we played the show. And Ray had, I think, 12 or 13 encores. They never got out of there.
Wow.
And they started asking songs, because his show was the same. Every time he played, it was the same. But he would always do encores, and people were asking for stuff that he hadn't done in a long time. I remember that particular day, one of the requests was City Lights. And Ray was real smart. The reason Ray was so good all those years, he took care of his throat. He dropped all of his keys. He didn't try to sing in the same keys he did when he was young.
Right.
That's why he sounded like a aged violin, just got better.
Right.
And he, I never will forget it. He turned around and looked at me. He said, after we done City Lights, he said, I haven't sang that in 10 years and I don't want to sing it again. And he said, that just took all my wind. And that's when he said good night, and he went to the bus, and that's when that was the last one. But he was a trip. Of course, it's common knowledge. Ray liked to smoke the hemp weed.
No.
And I tell you, I've been in this business. I've been around guys that smoke pot and stuff my whole life, but I've never seen in my life anybody smoke that much. And I think if he didn't, I think that's why he lived as long as he did. His metabolism just slowed down so much that it just refused to lay down and die.
Right.
But he told me my first trip out, picked me up, and he had you coming here. I had to drive, but my wife rode with me and drove her, or I had a pickup truck, and she got a pickup truck back home in West Memphis, Arkansas. And I get on the bus, and I get my stuff all situated, and I come up, and he's sitting in the shotgun seat. And he looked at me and said, I got one rule. I said, okay, what's that? He said, no smoking on my bus. So he reached in his pocket and pulled a joint out, spun around in that shotgun seat, put his feet on the dash and lit a big joint up. And said, now, if you're smoking this, you can smoke. No smoking cigarettes on my bus. So that was my introduction to the chief. But he was great. He was a cool guy. And, anybody that when you're riding down the road, of course, back then, not many people had cell phones. He had cell phones back then. He'd be sitting up in the shotgun seat when I going down the road, he'd be on his cell phone talking, and he would be talking to Tony Bennett. And anybody that can sit in a bus, smoking a joint, going down the road and talk to Tony Bennett's cool. I don't care who you are, exactly. That guy, he was the epitome of cool.
Yeah.
So it was made us dress nice and wearing suits and ties, and shoes had to be shiny. You had to be able to shave in your shoes. And I mean, he was real stickler about things. And played at a whisper ball. And the first gig I played with him there in Wisconsin, when he come out and started singing, I feel the hairs on my arms raising. That's how good it was. And I'd never had that before, never had it since.
Man.
He was something else.
Oh man, it sounds like. And with that being said,
I will tell you one more funny little quick story.
so with this being said,
I'll tell you one more quick story about Ray. A little funny, my wife has heard me tell this story before. Ray, was in the Marines in World War II, stationed on Guadalcanal.
Right.
He was an aircraft mechanic. Well, on the bus, up on a little shelf in the front room, he never would sleep in the back lounge like most stars would. He slept on the couch in the front of the bus. Well, he got up one morning, and I was sitting there drinking a cup of coffee. My first cup of coffee, and my eyes wasn't opening up real good. And he got up and he looked at me and he reached up on this shelf and he got this hairbrush. It was chrome and had mother of pearl on it and had the Marine globe and anchor, Eagle globe and anchor on it. It was issued to him when he was in the Marines. He took 3 swipes with that thing. His hair was perfect. And he looked at me and said, "Don't you wish you could do that?" Oh, boy, thanks. But he was funny. And, one of the last times I saw him was in Wichita Falls, Texas, at the Western Swing Festival, and the Cherokee Cowboys was on stage. I was down there with a band from here to play that festival. I was standing off to the wings, and he'd come around, and I was standing, and I actually had my coat that I wore with him. And I said, "Well, hey, Chief, how you doing? Remember me?" He said, "Well, damn, Michael, I hardly recognized you." I said, "Well, I put on a little weight." He said, "A little weight, hell, you're fat." So yeah, he had a real sharp wit. If you had a thin skin, you couldn't be on it.
right.
I treasure the time I spent as a Cherokee cowboy.
Oh man.
I'll treasure it till I die.
Oh, I bet. I would too, man. That's great, man. That's why I love getting guys like you guys up here, because we get to hear things that most people don't get to hear about these legends and stuff, and it's history, and it's stories that these good ones like you were just telling. It's stories like that we need to teach the younger generation so they don't forget it.
Well, and I'm sure Brian can attest to that. We could write a book, but we're going to have to wait for a few more people to die.
I think I'm on the list for next week, so don't write it out now.
I've had people ask me to tell them dirt. I said I'm not going to do that.
No.
Because there's a lot of things that don't need to be public.
Right.
Right. And there's some people I work for that I couldn't tell you anything bad on.
Right.
And really during my time with Ray or Vern, I could tell you some crazy stories on Vern. Nothing bad.
Right.
Nothing bad. It's just, it's just, it was a job, and I was glad to be there. And, one of these days I might write that book before I lose all my dollars. What little I got left. Don't you say nothing.
We were waiting for her to come from back there.
But
she's not listening.
My wife was raised in this business. Her father played guitar for Roy Acuff for 26 years. So she could probably tell you more stories than me or Brian could.
Right? All right, with that being said, we're going to get ready to take a break. So, with that being said, I'm going to let these two boys take us out to our break with another song. And then we'll take about a 5-10 minute break and jump back up here. So,
Okay.
in the words of Lawrence Welk, take you boys, and take it away.
Speaking of Ray Price and Willie Nelson, here you go.
I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I had
1, 2, 3.
Alrighty. We'll be right back after this short break. We're going to give these guys a chance to get out and get some water or use the restroom. And that's not a microscope.
Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
But you ain't wearing one. Now I'm afraid. Alrighty, we'll be right back, folks.